Whenever you're learning a new skill, as a beginner, there's usually a few unlocks that really speed up your progression in learning that skill. And I know I've seen this many times in the many non photography related things I've pursued over the course of my life, in addition to my early stages of photography as well. And I remember when I was in my first few years taking photography seriously, there were a few aha moments that really elevated and accelerated my learning substantially, and I want to share them with you in this video today. Hey, I'm Pat K, and if you don't know me already, I'm a travel photographer and Sony digital imaging ambassador based in Tokyo, Japan. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 tips that are part of my next installment of the Beginner's Guide series, the series where I teach creative skills for the new content creator. Now, we're going to go through a lot today, but if you want to skip all of this and want to learn all there is to know about the creative skill of photography, then check out my Photography Fundamentals course, which I will leave a link to in the description. Alrighty, the 3 things we're going to be talking about today are, number 1, intentionality. Number 2, the learning cycle. And number 3, imitation and analysis. One of the biggest unlocks for me is this, and let me say this slowly. You are responsible for everything in the frame. And if that statement to you sounds like, well, duh, then it is specifically you I'm talking to or talking about, because you're probably not treating the statement as seriously as you should or you could be. Here's the deal. Every element you include in your composition is your decision. You know, that random pole in the side of the frame, the piece of rubbish on the side of the road that wasn't cleaned up, the cut off legs of a portrait, your wonky horizon lines, blurry people. Every single distracting thing in your composition is your responsibility. But this is both a good and a bad thing. As photographers, this is the kind of power that we wield, the power to change what is in our compositions. Now, tactically, this means slightly shifting our compositions one direction or another, or it might mean, we step to the left or we step to the right just a few meters so that we can align elements in our composition a little bit better. It could also mean zooming in, zooming out, selecting all of the scene in front of us or just parts of that scene instead. To use a positive example, let's take this series of images that I shot at the top of Mount Fuji. Now, here is the wide shot. Now, there's a couple of things going on here. The first of which is that at the time, there was a gigantic, crazy cloud formation above me, but I couldn't capture it well because I only had my RX100 on me, so I was limited to 24 millimeters as my widest focal length. So instead, I chose to focus on the brightest portion of the light and those amazing rays coming through the clouds. Now, I had the foresight to zoom in all the way to 200 millimeters and move the composition slightly to the left to punch in on the details. And now we have a completely different image that shows the rays in a 45-degree angle coming off the mountains. Stunning. Now, I did the same thing on the right side of the frame as well and caught the texture of the mountaintops and the rays again as well. 3 different compositions, all shot at the same time, in the same place, all by being a little bit intentional with what is in the frame and playing around and adjusting the composition on the fly. All right, let's take a negative example. This is one of my earlier shots from many, many, many years ago, from around the time that I first visited Japan. And I remember being so jacked up on the excitement of being there that I rushed to take this shot. But before I critique it, pause the video here and tell me what is wrong with it in your opinion, and then we can, compare notes afterwards, and I'll wait for you. All right. Ready? The first thing is that the horizon line is all bent out of shape. It's not shot straight, and honestly, this is culprit number 1 that I see most beginner photographers make. Slow down and make sure that every single shot you take has a level horizon. The second thing is, what is the subject here? Is it the buildings at the back? Is it the dude on the right running? Or is it the dude on the further right walking? Is it the construction on the left? What exactly is it? What exactly am I looking at? I don't remember taking this shot at all, if I'm honest. But if I had to guess, I would have assumed that it was the dude running on the right that caught my attention that would have been the main subject. In this case, if that was the case, then I missed the focus completely because I was rushing, you know? Not only that, but the other guy on the far right is distracting. And if I had just waited just a few more seconds for him to pass by, perhaps I would have gotten the running dude alone and singled out and really nice and isolated. And then there's the matter of the things in the frame. And, look at all this ugly construction on the left. This does absolutely nothing to help the image, because what's really doing all the heavy lifting here is the leading line of the bridge leading to the guy running, which means I probably should have ducked down just a little bit and gotten more of the bridge in frame so that it looks more obvious as to where you are supposed to look at. And then I should have moved just a meter or two forward so that I could have put myself past the pole there and not included it in the composition, that very first pole. Then there's the little things like, this random little dude in the background between the two taxis, and then the way that I shot it at 1/125th of a second, which is like way too slow for this kind of composition. And I don't think you can see this in the YouTube compression as well, but this image is also slightly out of focus because the shutter speed is slightly too slow. And I can go on and on, but if I had just slowed down, been deliberate with what to include within the composition and also what to leave out, then made all the small adjustments as well, this image would have been 10 times better than just a simple off-the-cuff snapshot shot in a hurry. Intentionality is the key to better photographs. Slow down. Okay, number 2, the learning cycle. In photography, there's a very cyclic nature to how you initially learn to shoot in terms of skill and craft. And then there's also a very cyclic nature about how to uncover your style, which is a little bit of an advanced topic for this kind of video, but leave me a comment if you want to see that. In photography, there's a whole long process of how to iterate over your images and your skill, just like anything else. But the real key in photography is in the post-processing part, but it's not actually the post-processing itself. What is far more important is the review portion. As an example, in any sport, pro level and above, what do athletes do after they've finished the game? They go back and review the tapes. They watch the game back and see what went right, see what went wrong, and they try to think about where they could improve for the next time and how to implement that. If you really want to get better at the craft of photography, the same thing is true here, except it happens in your post-processing stage. So you head out to go shoot. You go and have some fun, reel off a few hundred images and then import them to Lightroom and then start editing, right? Wrong. I know after a shoot, you might be excited to start editing, but the most important part of this stage is the review, the stage where you look over all of your images and you decide which ones are the keepers and which ones you edit. These are your selects. At the same time, you should also be going over the images that didn't turn out so well. The blurry shots, the blanks, the images that are throwaways, the ones that will sit on your hard drive forever and never see the light of day because they're not good enough. The question is, why? Why are they not good enough? Was it because you didn't like shooting with that quality of light? Or you screwed up your shutter speed? Or you didn't build rapport with your model? Or you didn't arrive early enough, you didn't bring your ND filter? Man, the list goes on and on and on. But these are the gems of your feedback process. Every time you go through and review your images in your post-processing software, pay attention to the images that don't go so well so that you can fix these issues for the next time that you go out and shoot. Then you can also work on the inverse. When you go and review your images, what did go well? Of the keepers that you did decide to select, why did you decide to select those over others? Was it because you got the light that you wanted? Great. Well, now you know what to look for next time. Was it because you liked the way you composed the subject? Amazing. Then do the same thing next time. Did you make your model comfortable and got the best poses and emotion out of the shoot? Sweet. Brought your shiny new lens with you and now you're in love with ultra wide shots? Amazing. Can't get enough. This is such a iterative process that goes over hundreds and hundreds of shoots over years and decades. But the end game here is that eventually, maybe 5-10 years down the track, you'll have covered so many of these little edge cases that you'll be able to go into a shoot with absolute confidence and increase the amount of keepers that you shoot exponentially. You'll have the confidence to walk into any shoot and know that you can get at least something out of it because you know exactly how you like to shoot, exactly what to look for, and exactly what to do every single time. So the cycle is do and then review, do and then review. Go and shoot, come back, and then review your images and know exactly what to do next time and exactly what not to do next time. All right, if you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button for me so that I know it's good enough to make even more free videos just like this in the future. Okay, number 3 is imitation and analysis. Here's an idea for you. If you're anything like me and you feel empty and dead inside whenever you use social media, give it some purpose. The next time you open Instagram, rather than just doom scrolling through your feed, stop at the next image created by a good photographer. Study that image. And if you like it, ask yourself, why do I like this image? And only accept specific answers from yourself. Be hard on yourself. Is it the color? Is it the way it makes you feel? What is it about how the image is composed that makes you feel that way? Is it the use of visual patterns, frames, symmetry, scale? What specifically is it that makes this image look good to you? And then if it doesn't look good to you, why? And if you could improve it, how would you do it? What would you add to that image next time? Or how would you change things up or move the composition around? People who have years and years of experience are posting world-class images on the internet for free for you to consume. So use it. Use those experiences to your advantage and understand and learn from what these people are doing, because chances are, if you're following them, then they're most likely doing something that is working, and that's definitely something worth paying attention to. Take a screenshot of said image and then write down some notes about what visual patterns they're using, the color palette they chose and how those colors affect emotion. Perhaps then document your opinion on what makes the image work well or what doesn't make the image work well. And then, and this is the kicker here, go out and do it yourself. Because it's not until you've been in the driver's seat, taking the same image with the same set of conditions, that you will ever know what it's like to take the photo in that way. Imitation is the basis of learning. And once you've learned the thing and you understand how it works and why it was done, think about how you can push that and then make it even better, throwing your own skills into the mix with it. We can't be out there all the time taking photos as much as we wish we could. But what you can do is spend a little bit of your time, little pockets of time here and there, looking at and analyzing images in your mind's eye, training yourself so that when you get out there next, you have that little bit more context and experience that you can bring with you to the next shoot. This is how you level up fast. All right, now back to you. If you're a little bit more of an experienced photographer, what were your aha moments? What were the unlocks that clicked for you? Leave them down in the comments below to help out your fellow beginner photographers. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video. And again, if you want to fast track your photography learning, then check out my photography fundamentals course over at patk.com/accelerate. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, get out there and make something that matters. Peace.